Hi guys, this is Harish here, and today we are going to discuss your programming project 3, which was to print the nth line of Pascal's triangle. So the question says that design and implement a recursive program to determine and print the nth line of Pascal triangle. So firstly is you have to design and implement a recursive program which should print the nth line of Pascal's triangle. And let me tell you that most of you guys have printed the complete triangle instead of the nth value of in the nth line of Pascal triangle. But the I don't know, like you got misunderstood with this as shown below, which was as shown below for your reference to to see how a Pascal triangle looks like, and but actually you had to print the nth line of Pascal triangle. But we have not deducted marks for that, but you must have seen in the feedback that we have mentioned that you had to print the nth line, and if your logic was correct, and if you have used the recursion technique, so we have given marks to you, and that's it. The main objective for this assignment was to use recursion to print the nth value of Pascal triangle, and it also says how a Pascal triangle is implemented. So each integer value is the sum of the two values above it. So each corner value of a Pascal triangle is 1, and each integer value of a Pascal triangle is the sum of two values above it. So if we say the first row has only one element, so it should be 1 because it is one of the corner element of Pascal triangle. Then we go to the second row. So the second row has two elements in it, which are both corner elements. It does not have any integer element in it. So again, we have a 1 and a 1 because these are the corner elements. Now in the third row we had to have three elements. And we know that the corner elements will be 1. So what will be this middle element? So this middle element will be the sum of the elements above it. So the sum of this and this. So it should be 2. So what about this? So we have here the fourth row should have a 4 values. So we know the corner values are 1. So this value should be the sum of this and this. So it should be 3. And again this should be the sum of this element and this element. So it should be 3. So if you see here, likewise we can build the Pascal triangle, and we can go to nth line when we need to implement this program. So it goes like this is the first, second, third, fourth, and this is up to the 6th lines of Pascal triangle. I'm sorry. So let us look let us look at the code, how it looks like, and how do we implement this with recursion in our project. So this is my implementation of Pascal triangle, and I have a class which says Pascal triangle 2, and I have different methods which are already implemented here. So I'll just go through the code and explain you how it works. So firstly we have I have three instance variables, which is row number. I have an int array, 1D array, triangle row, and I have a third variable, which is row count. So first, row number. What does row number? Row number is a number which a user will give, which he wants to see that which line of Pascal triangle I need to print. So the row number will store that number. Sorry. So triangle row is a 1D array which will contain the elements of each line when we reach that line, right? So we are using recursion, right? So we will be at some line of a Pascal triangle. So that line will be, the elements of that line will be stored in this triangle row. And also, like it was mentioned in our description, that the hint which was given, use an array to store the values on each line. So it saves your computation because you don't need to, so say you are printing the fourth line of Pascal triangle, you don't need to compute the first 3 rows of Pascal triangle again when you are computing the fourth row. You store these values of third row in your array, and you use that to compute the fourth row. I saw that many of students haven't used the array haven't used the array, and they compute every time the whole triangle above the nth line which they need to compute. So that's very that is inefficient program, because if at every line you need to compute the whole triangle above it, so it makes your program inefficient, right? And you have to, like, you have the questions for to show that how it is inefficient in your program sets for factorial. When do you use recursion for which uh, functions, and when do you don't use the recursion, when is the iterative method better than the recursion? So to make the recursion method better here, we use the array here to make our computation better. So sorry. So we have these some methods which we implemented to implement our programming project. So mostly we have a Pascal triangle constructor, which just takes when you instantiate this class, and when you make object of this class, you pass the row number here, which is the this dot row number, which goes to the row number as I previously told you. Okay, so let us see the main method. So how main method is executed, and when does it, how is the flow of the program when you, how is the flow of this class when you run the program. So firstly we have a print variables, print string sorry. So I'll just make the program somewhat interactive, because it asks the users that which line do you want me to print for of the Pascal triangle. So I have implemented using scanner, and I think you have done this in your previous projects, so it will be really easy for you to understand this. So it's just keeping a y variable, y literal, in a string object, and it then checks that if it is y or if it is yes, yeah, then it goes on. Otherwise, if it holds the, it terminates the program. So when you, so initially, if we run the program, we just need to pass some value and see the nth line of Pascal triangle. So initially we have a y for the print variable here, so it checks if the print is y. Then it asks you, if enter the line number to compute which line do you want to see for Pascal triangle. I'm sorry. So you enter the number here, and then that number is passed into a int, and it goes to the row here. And when you instantiate the class with this statement, this, you pass the row here, and here is where your row number gets the value of your nth line of Pascal triangle. Then you have a method, say compute row, which you call after you instantiate the class. So let's see what compute row does. So here is our compute row. So compute row is just initializing the row count variable to 1. So as we know, like, we have to go to the 1 to the nth value. So we initialize our row count to 1, and sorry, and we have the triangle row array. So we initialize this array with the first element, and the length of the first, with the first row. The first row has only one element, so we pass the row count here, which is 1 right now. And then we have triangle, when we initialize our array with the first value. As we know, the first row of Pascal triangle has 1 in it, so we just initialize it with 1. And then we call a function method which is compute triangle, and let us see what compute triangle does. Sorry. So compute triangle is, so this is our main function. This is the where recursion happens, and where we recursively compute each line of our Pascal triangle. And as you know, for a recursion to happen, we need to have a base case to stop the recursion and to know like this is the point where we need to get out of the recursion and we need to check our values. So here is the base case. So base case is when your row count becomes equal or greater than the row number. You will stop the recursion and you just need to print the nth line of Pascal triangle you have in your array, 1D array. So this method takes the 1D array which you previously initialized in the compute row method, and after the base case, now if you know that your row count is less than the row number, so it will go in the else part. So what your else does is it will compute a new 1D array which will be having a length greater than the previous array's length, which will be one more than the previous length, because now you are going to the second row and like you are going to the next row of the Pascal triangle, so and you will have a one value more than the previous row, right? So you initialize the triangle row with the length which will be equal to the previous length plus 1, and as you know that the corner values of a Pascal triangle are 1, so the first value should be 1, and then we have a for loop which goes from the first value to the last but one value of a Pascal triangle line, right? And as we told that the sorry, the each value of the Pascal triangles row is the sum of the two values above it. So we have these two values in our row array which was passed to us in this method. So the sum is will be the row of ith value, which is the value which is at ith index and which is at the index of I minus 1 index. So this will store this value to our ith value of the new array, and this we are going to do perform with the first value, the first index of that line to the nth minus 1 index. So let us say we are on the fourth row. So fourth line will contain four values. So we know the first and the last value will be 1. So we need to compute the two values. So the interior two values will be computed by this for loop, and the last value, as it is the corner value, we know that it should be 1. So here we set that last value to 1. Now we increment the row count because we need to reach the row number. So we increment the row count here and then recursively call the compute triangle method again with the new 1D array which we just made here. So now it goes again it checks if the row count has become the equal to row number or it's greater than row number, then it just prints the row, otherwise it goes recursively and computes the nth line. I'm really sorry guys, I'm just having cough for last 1 week. Okay, so when we reach our base case, it goes to the print row method and it does print the nth line of the Pascal triangle. So let us see what does this print row does. So print row does nothing, it just has a for loop and it just prints the nth line of your Pascal triangle when which you pass. So now you know that you have reached the nth row of your Pascal triangle. You just need to print the values. So you just make a for each loop and you just print it every time you get a value. So every num of this 1D array we will print here and we will just put a space in between and see what it looks like. So when this is done, so this function is finished, so it goes back here and here. So ultimately we completed the compute row method which we called earlier from our main method, right here. So your control comes here and then it asks you again, do you want to continue with the new value? If you say yes, then it just scans the new value and it checks yes you have. Okay, so when you reach here, when the control comes here, so then your program asks the user, do you want to continue with the new value, or you just need to terminate the program? So if you say yes, if you say why, and then again it goes back and it just asks you, it goes to the print variable, and it just check if the print is y or no, yes or no, and then it again asks you the enter the line to compute, and it goes on until you terminate the program. So let us run this program and see how it works. So now it is asking the to enter the line number to compute. So let us say I need to print the third line of the Pascal triangles. So here it is. So it says 1 2 1. So if I say yes, I need to go ahead and put some more values. I say the first value, so it just prints the first value of Pascal's triangle, which is 1. And again I say yes, why? I just need to print the ninth line of the Pascal triangles. So here is the ninth line. And now if I say no, I just need to terminate this program. It just terminates and it says program finished. So here was my implementation of this Pascal triangles to print the nth line of the Pascal triangles. So if you have any questions, you can just post on Piazza, or you can just email me, or you can just come to me in my office hours and clear your questions. I'd like you to go through this code and try running your code again, and just see how it recursion works, and how recursion is helpful in these type of questions when you just need to do a repetitive thing. And uh, recursion, like, these are very basic examples where you learn, yeah, how recursion works, and how what is the use of recursion, in which programs we can use the recursion technique to make it efficient. Yeah, so that's it. I'll leave you with this, and please let me know if you have any queries. Yeah, thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice day.